Okay, welcome back to Swans Cast, everyone. So we're doing a little bit of something different today. Doing a bit of a live episode to end transfer deadline day. So I got Lee with me today, and I've also got Nikki. So welcome, lads.
Hello.
Boys.
Welcome. So we got Rustic Geek joining us so far in the chat. So welcome in. I don't know where to start then, really, boys. We're going to touch on probably the games just now, but I think the important and the thing on everyone's lips at the moment is deadline day. So without going into details, how have you found the day so far from a Swansea perspective then? Lee, if you want to go first.
Well, up to now, what have we got left? 35 minutes left to the window. Up to now, it's been absolutely shocking, isn't it? Because what have we done? We've lost Lowe. Who else has gone?
Well, in terms of sales, obviously there was Conor Roberts and
Conor Roberts.
But if you're looking at the full transfer window and players we lost from last season, you've got to include, Andre Ive's gone on a free, bunch of players we lost from loan signings, a long list of players. So, how do you feel the overall window has gone so far?
Well, it's not good, is it? I mean, we've been due a window like this, and it's been happening really over years where we're just selling our best players every year and replacing them with players that aren't the same quality. Now, we have brought in some good players, but over time, our squad's just dwindling now, isn't it? I mean, you lose Conor Roberts, and obviously we've got Laird in, but that's a loan move. So essentially, we're just selling players and bringing in loans and frees. It's not sustainable. So It's quite worrying, to be honest.
Nikki?
Yeah, you are right, Lee. It's not sustainable. You just basically bring in players to improve for other clubs, really, aren't you? With the people like Laird and things like that, because they're going to go back to, at the end of the season, go back to places like Man United, like Reese Williams, who brought in, good defender, played a few games last year for Liverpool. You know what I mean? Look, potentially be a good signing, but is he going to stay at the Swans next season? Realistically,
I mean, if we get lucky, maybe we'd have another Geehy situation where we get 2 years out of him, but I can't imagine it'd be permanent. The only way we sign in any of these sort of players permanent is if we go up, and I don't think that's happening this season. I know it's early to say that, but
it's a massive turnaround. I was looking earlier, and I think out of our starting lineup for the playoff final, I think we've only got 5 or 6 players left, and it's been the same from the seasons before as well. Like, how can you have this level of turnover every season?
Yeah. So Scott Evans in the chat, worst transfer day ever. I don't know about that. I don't know if it's. I think
it's pretty bad. I think the most underwhelming thing for probably is for people. I can understand people going for the right fee, but when you're losing like Conor Roberts, who's probably one of the best fullbacks in the Championship last year, I know he's come to the end of his contract, but 2 million was it? 2.5 million. That's pennies. That's pennies. You can't. I'm sorry. This is not enough money.
Yeah, it's poor.
Yeah, I think for me that's the same thing. Like some of the fees being quoted for some of these players, we had a bit of a moan about the fee quoted for Mac Grimes earlier on, even though that hasn't yet materialised. I don't want to say never until Fat Lady sings, but the Conor Roberts fee seems low. The Jamal Lowe fee seems low. The Rodon fee seemed low last year. Seems to be becoming a trend, maybe under winter. I mean, we could go into details about that, but let's sort of take the whole transfer window then. Let's look at how it started. So Freddie Woodman, Andre Ayew, Mark Geehy, Conor Horahan, all leaving the club. Then you had the likes of Kieran Freeman. Not that was a massive... it's probably not one anyone really worries about. Or Barry McKay and Declan John, they also left the club. Wayne Routledge has left the club. I think he's retired. If anyone can confirm that. Yeah. George Byers has also gone, and obviously Conor Roberts and Jamal Lowe. So that's quite a few players. I would say half of a starting team minimum from last season. Core of a squad under Cooper last year. However, we have brought some players in. So we've got Joel Pirro, obviously striker. Kyle Joseph, who we brought in, but I'll touch on in a bit, has actually gone on loan today. Liam Walsh, Flynn Downs, Ethan Laird, as we mentioned just now, Jimmy Patterson, Reese Williams. Kyle Joseph, Ollie Cooper and Jordan Garrick have gone out on loan. Looks like maybe Morgan Whittaker might be joining. potentially. And I think Russell Martin was saying he expected Dan Williams to also leave, though I've not seen any confirmation or anything linked there. I don't think that's a massive problem, though, because midfield's quite stacked. And then we got some maybes that we're waiting on now in the last half hour, and maybe up till midnight. I think they got to do some of the paperwork, haven't they? So we might have some news trickling out afterwards. But that's Michael Obafemi from Southampton. Is it Fosu Mensah from Brentford? Is that how you say his name?
Yeah, Fosu, yeah.
Fosu. And Nsham. Again, I'm not sure if that's the correct pronunciation, but
Celtic.
A bit of a maverick player, I heard, but could potentially be a good signing. So there's three. If we get those three players in, does it balance it out well, do you think? And if we keep Matt Grimes, let's say.
That's a good question, actually, isn't it? Well, you've got to keep Matt Grimes, isn't it? Simple as. That's key.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. His contract may run out at the end of the season, but I've got to show a bit of backbone and keep him. Even if it gets to January time, and he might get something for him then. But you've got a bit more time to probably in the market where, like, say, Fulham came back in, obviously, you probably won't get the price. Well, not asking for a lot now, really, are we? £3 million. But
the one in the chat here, not annoyed about them leaving, but the fee is shocking. So
yeah, the fees are shocking. The fees are shocking. That's where the negotiators have let the club down, the fans down, haven't they? No, you need to get the best possible price for the player, the quality of the player.
There was definitely a shift since Winter's come in, because when Birch was here, we were getting, we had they overpaid for McBurney, didn't they, when they took him, and Dan James is quite expensive. I thought we probably got more than what they were worth there. But it's just been a complete flip now where, $2.5 million for Conor Roberts is shocking. And what was it? Was it 2 million, 1.5 million for Lowe, something like that?
1.5 million. Do you not think they're just frightened that they think that if they ask for, say, like 4 or 5 million, then the club will go, oh no, but they really want to make the sale. You know what I mean? They're just thinking of that. They'll go, we'll just start with a low price and see what they say.
Yeah. Well, on the flip side, Fulham have been back and forth. I think 3 times they made a bid for Grimes, and everyone's been rejected so far. So it's like they can do it, but they're not doing it.
But they go in for like 2 million to 2.5 to 3 million.
I know,
like that,
but I don't understand.
Be a club captain.
Yeah, I don't understand the process. But yeah, they're capable of doing it. Like, Russell Martin's quite keen on keeping Grimes. Maybe that's the difference. But
yeah, but the fact that they've put 3 bids in means that they think they can get him.
Well, apparently they're on to a different target now. That's what I'm hearing. They've dropped interest, but
that would be good news if we keep Grimes. It's important. I think if we keep Grimes and they bring in these other 1 or 2 players, then it's probably not as bad as it seemed this morning when everybody was leaving. But I don't know why. Like it's just the whole, like I said, the whole management of it, letting players run down to the last 12 months of their contract and taking really small fees for them. It's ridiculous.
Have you got anything to say to that comment? Did you see it?
No, what's that?
At least Danda is still here, isn't that right, Lee?
Yeah, well, nobody's going to pay for him, are they?
Well, you wouldn't be surprised if he went on a free if somebody asked.
I'm surprised he hasn't got a move though, because he's not playing him.
You must have. It's going to be another one of them seasons. He'll come out and say Danda's full of potential. He's really good on the ball. He's a really creative player. He's really good, and then hardly play him. Same as what Steve Cooper, and he was like, my biggest regret from my first season was not playing Danda enough, and then
played him less.
Didn't play him much in the second season either. But we're not here to talk about Jan Danda, are we? So Scott mentioned in the chat, how can you say it's not that bad? How can you say it's not that bad? Well, when you compare some of the other transfer windows we've had since we got relegated, I think at least the players that have gone, we've replaced most of them. I'm not saying it's necessarily as good a replacement, but there has been some sort of effort to replace the players. The fees is the bad part, but I think if you were happy with the fees that we received, I don't think we'd be so annoyed right now. And I'm basing this off if we get these other 3 players in. If we get these other 3 players in, I don't think on paper it looks that bad, ins and outs wise. We knew the loan players were going to go back, so can you really argue that's a bad window when you lose the likes of Horahan, Geehee and Woodman? Because they're loan players. Yeah.
That's what we were saying. That's what we were saying earlier, wasn't it? That it's not sustainable to play.
Yeah, it's not
that way.
sustainable. But you can't necessarily say it's a negative window because they've gone.
And I don't understand people saying rebuilding. You can't rebuild when you have a team full of loan players because they're just going to go back to their parent club, and then you've got to rebuild again, and then you've got to rebuild again. When you rebuild, you build in blocks and foundations. You know what I mean? You sign the player. Maybe you have a 1 or 2 loan players, but we were filling our loan list out, weren't we? Yeah. And they were our key members in our team, but you can't do that season after season after season.
Yeah, it seems like it's less at the moment. We've got obviously the 2. We've got Ethan Laird and Reese Williams in on loan. Out of the 3 that we're still linked with, and Taylor's just asked what 3 players. So it's Obafemi from Southampton, Fosu from Brentford, and Sham, who's a free agent, I believe, which I'm surprised hasn't been confirmed yet, because if he's free, you'd be questioning why that wasn't the first one to be completed. So if that gets over the line or not, who knows?
Yeah, well, someone the Celtic deemed not good enough to get in their squad.
Yeah, but then sometimes players just run their contracts down, don't they?
Yeah.
I know he could sign any time, can't he? In Cham, no, because he's a free transfer. It doesn't have to be done for the deadline.
Yeah, so perhaps they
are take a bit more time over that.
Yeah, perhaps they've got an agreement there, but it's like, we'll sort your paperwork out after we've dealt with the stuff with the deadline.
Yeah,
but that's the frustration with the window again. Like, we go back to saying I still think it's a bad window, but why is it taking so long for us to get to the? We'd know 2 weeks before the start of the season we get a new manager, and then deadline day we're on probably on the verge of selling 3 players if Grimes goes, and then maybe not bringing in loans and frees until after the deadline. It's just a mess. This is a mess.
Yeah. Okay. So we've also got apparently 1.5 million from Dan James as well going to Leeds.
Yeah.
So
we do get
that's a bonus bit of money that I guess they weren't necessarily planning for. Maybe that saved Grimes going. Who knows? I tweeted out as soon as I saw the news, like, just put that money. You weren't expecting to have it. Chuck it straight in a Grimes contract. Maybe. I doubt that would happen.
If he wants to sign a new contract.
We got some excitement in the chat, though, with these players. If they do come, we have to stress they haven't been confirmed yet. It is speculation. You know what can happen on deadline day. You'll get disappointed. But how are getting a tune in if we pull off all these signings? Let's give him a couple of weeks first. Just to make, we haven't exactly had Lee, you had a stat actually with the XG for our expected goals so far this season. We're sitting bottom of the league, aren't we?
Yeah, on XG, yeah. That's fun.
Yeah. 1,300 passes, 1 shot, 1 goal. Who's that? Danda? I don't know.
That's probably, isn't it? Like the whole team.
Yeah.
Here we go. I reckon Sham's on hold because he's free and get the loans and transfers done first. Yeah, I think that might be the case. Let's have a look in detail then. So let's have a look at the players we know that have left. So Conor Roberts, I think, is the big one.
Yeah.
How do we feel about Conor Roberts going? I mean, we kind of all thought it might have been coming as soon as we lost the playoff final. But then he got injured, didn't he, or something, and he had to have an operation, and he's out until, September, October? And it went quiet. There was not really anything talking, no interest. He's had this op. Apparently he was doing well in training, expected back earlier than we thought. I started to think no one's going to come in for him until at least January. So
I thought January. I thought he probably, if he would get back in the team, maybe. Mind you, Ethan Laird's played well since he came into the team. To be fair to him, he looks like a good, promising player. Yeah. But I thought Conor Roberts would probably get till January, maybe like a club would come in from them. But like he's running down his contract as well, isn't he? So another player there.
Yeah, that's a bigger question, doesn't it?
I mean, the question is, we're not inside the club either, are we? So we don't know if these lads have said, well, I don't want to sign a new contract. I'm just going to run my current deal out or find me a new club.
Yeah, so we don't know. Going back on a lot of the recent contract signings, I think Felton was not so long ago. Cabango was not so long ago. They literally do leave it quite late for all of them. And every single season since we've come down, there's been a long list of players. I think Norton as well last season. There's been a long list of players who their contracts like running out to the end of this season. We're always looking at our list like, oh God, who are we going to lose? They never seem to offer them a new contract with 2 years left. Like if they know they're a key part of the team, and that also protects you, like in this situation where there's a lot of demand for your players. I know the demand might be increased because of the contract situation, but you'll get more money out of them if you've got more years on the deal and someone wants them at the end of the day. Like Conor Roberts has gone to Burnley in the Premier League. I'm sure they could have paid more for him if they really wanted him.
Oh well, of course they could have. But like you said, this is the gamble you play in. Anyway. You're playing with it, and it's, if the Swans really wanted to keep, well, if they thought he was a massive key member of the team, they shouldn't wait for a year.
But I think that's the boardroom level, and as far as they're concerned, I don't think there's a key player.
Yeah, but it's ridiculous. And then again, winding it down to deadline day when he's injured, it's probably just so like we pick up the wages, don't they, until the very end, until he signs him. But yeah, I think but you look at the fees now for players, and it might, people might say, last year of the contract, at least you get something for them, you get a couple of million for them. But you see the prices branding around now for like, especially young British talent. Like you've got, Conor Roberts, Welsh international, can definitely play at Premier League level. I'd be expecting at least 5-8 million in that region. And then Roden was the same. Obviously, we got a lot more for that, but I would have put him in a higher bracket definitely.
Yeah,
it's ridiculous the fees they're getting for these players.
Yeah, I think Roberts deserves to go to the Premier League, as Stephen Chaz said. He does deserve that chance, and I don't think anyone could begrudge him going there with them coming calling. But it's literally the way the club is dealing with these transfers is just quite alarming, because you think, okay, next year then we're going to lose next year, and we need the money to rebuild the squad, to like put the money back in, replace the players if we're ever going to have a chance of going back up. But you're not getting the money to do that. You're getting the money essentially to run the club, in a way.
But we sold some big players over the last few years as well. I know partial payments have run out, and I know there's some players on big wages, but like Sigurdsson for 40 odd million, Dan James 20 million, Ollie McBurney 20 million. This is a lot of money. Where's all I'm not saying where's the money gone now. That wasn't necessarily reinvested into the squads, were they?
No, because who now? Who is left? Who is left now in the club that's going to attract a fee? Because we bring in loan players now and free players. So who have we got left realistically that's going to bring in a fee?
Well,
Bango maybe.
If he bangs a few in now.
Perot maybe. Yeah. Well, it's just early days, isn't it? I mean, yeah, he started well, to be fair, but we're running out of this talent line that we had coming from the academy. The McBurneys, Dan James, Rodens, Conor Roberts. All these sort of players. That was our lifeblood basically when we got relegated. They've let them all go. Well, not all, but we had some good fees at the start. But now they're all going for pennies. Byers went out. I didn't understand that one for nothing basically. So it's a bit. I'm a bit worried. I am for the future. I got to be honest. I will be doom and gloom, but it's a bit worrying for me. Just the long term.
I'm the same, but I think it's literally, and I don't know the details. Like you said earlier, we're not inside the club, but it just seems to be such a clear cut sort of correlation with Trevor Birch to Julian Winter with this transfer fee issues, starting with Joe Rodon last year, and he actually came out and defended his decision on that, and that looks good now in comparison. Joe Rodon had one season for us, proper first team, maybe two, was it?
Yeah,
before he went, and he's gone for 12. Conor Roberts has been far more involved in the team for longer, and he's gone for 1.5.
Yeah, it was just ridiculous. Yeah, but put it this way, right? You had, I don't know how true this is, but I was seeing earlier that Wolves were looking to Kiefer Moore, weren't they, from Cardiff? And Cardiff said they wanted 12 million, nothing less, and they pulled out of the deal. 12 million. Where's the backbone? Where's the backbone? 2.5 million.
Yeah, well, Kiefer Moore will have a big contract, obviously, so it doesn't entice him. But no, you're right. To be fair, sometimes, it's nice to get money for a player like Conor Roberts. Maybe it's just best saying, actually, you know what? We'll take a chance of losing you for free and get a good season that way.
Yeah.
Look at Mbappe at Real Madrid. Well, PSG. I know, so basically, 160 million euros PSG signed him from Monaco. And what did Real Madrid offer? 189, which is more than what they paid him. And they went, nah, we lose you for free. Just play one more year.
I can't believe they turned that down. To be fair, that's
I can't believe they turned it down, but it just turns on around and goes, actually, no, he's that valuable to us. We'd rather lose him on a free and get a good year out of him.
Yeah, exactly. And that's what we were saying the other day. It's not saying, oh, Conor Roberts is worth 15, 20 million, but to the club, he is worth that. He's worth, like, same with Grimes. He might not be, 10, 50 million pound player, but it depends what that player's worth to your club. Like now, Grimes plays 90 minutes every week. Club captain. He's vital to the way we play now, especially.
Yeah.
Why would you let him go cheap? All right, he might not be, he's not world class, and some people might say he's not Premier League quality. But for us, he's worth a lot more than just a couple of million.
Yeah.
So you've got to get paid. These are our players. We got to get paid for them.
Yeah. So just having a quick check, and there's nothing been announced since we've been live. Just putting that out there. We've got,
doesn't surprise me.
15 minutes until the deadline. I mean, I know if they get the certain paperwork in, they got a bit longer to get it finalised, but nothing.
Yeah, but this is it with us as well. Like, you woke up this morning and it was Lowe and Roberts gone, Grimes bid, all that was out there straight away. And it's only in the last, say, 2 hours or so, we sort of had rumours of replacements. Like, you'd like to think they would have had.
You can't sell players if you don't have replacements. I never understood that. You got to need someone coming in the door for somebody to walk the door. Yeah. That's the way you need it. You always need somebody to fill the gap, and I just don't understand that personally. But there we are.
Yeah, I got some comments to read out here in the chat. So it's all been daylight robbery. We go down in league and see the owners stick around with no profit to be made.
Ollie, hope you're feeling better as well.
Yeah,
not been well. 1.5 mil is a piss take for Lowe. Well, now you've mentioned Lowe, let's get on to it. Take away Ayew's penalties, and Lowe was the highest scorer by a few, was worth a lot more. Rival clubs must be laughing. Yeah, to be fair, for a player who's not a striker, he's got 14 goals and 50-odd appearances. So that's a decent return in a championship, playing out of position. If you give those stats to a winger, 14 goals and 50-odd appearances, that's good return for a winger, really, isn't it? Like in the championship especially. So, I mean, you could argue that's a goal-scoring midfield sort of option from out wide, and you're selling him for, I think they were quoting, I was on the Bournemouth channel about an hour ago, they were saying 2 million. I think it's like 1.8 maybe there's some add-ons and stuff involved, but that still seems very low, because they were asking me what I thought about him. I just gave them the honest opinion. He has dry patches, but he has patches where he can't stop scoring. I think he went on run, didn't he, of like 9 games, 9 goals. Yeah. And no one will ever forget that goal against Cardiff. He actually, the last highlight I remember of him was against Plymouth the other day, where he got the assist for one of the goals there, where he literally like ran out wide.
Yeah, he did. He did well.
But that's where he needs to be used. I mean, when using that strength, he showed that strength when he can run with the ball at his feet, run at players, run into space. He's good. But when he's playing like isolated up top, which he has been doing this season, it's not been working out for him. And I can understand why he probably thinks, if that's what I'm going to be used in this system, then it's not for me. Quite often in a new manager tenure, like stuff like that happens. I'm not saying I agree with it. I can just understand it from his point of view, why if Bournemouth are coming knocking on the door, he's probably been like, you know what?
Yeah, I get it. But I mean, it's dangerous from our point of view, because we'll just another option that's left now, because you've got obviously like Pereira started well, and I still don't really understand this. Like 2 that he's playing behind, like 1 being Cullen, and usually Patterson, like 2 behind. But taking Lowe out of that now, you've lost an option. Like, what if you need to go to a back 4 and have Lowe out wide?
Wide, yeah.
You completely lost that option now, like totally. And we're not going to sign any wingers, are we? So you've completely lost that now. And Whittaker's going to go out on loan. So, to my knowledge, I don't think we have anybody that can really play wide.
Now, I don't think, if you let Lowe go for me, you cannot. I don't agree with Lowe going, to be honest with you. I thought he did well last year. To be fair, he wasn't playing in his natural position. He needs space to run into, doesn't he? He was doing it at Wigan. He wasn't playing as a number 9. You know what I mean? He was up wide, cutting in, wasn't he? And he did well for Wigan before we signed him. But like you said, if he needs a change formation now, he hasn't really got anybody out there, well, in the squad that can push out wide and do what Lowe did. But he's more of an in behind the centre forward, I think. Anyway, try cute little passes. You know what I mean? He's a bit clever, isn't he? I think I'd probably prefer to see him in that position. But I don't think we can let Whittaker go now. If I'm honest with you, with Lowe going, I don't think we can.
I don't really understand why we would anyway. I thought he played well against. I don't think he was the standout player, mind, against Plymouth. Like everyone was raving about Whittaker because he got a hat trick. He got a hat trick in like the last 10 minutes. For the rest of the game, he was quite average. I'll be honest. Like I'm not saying he was bad, and I don't want him to leave. I'm just trying to like be real here. He wasn't the best player on the pitch against Plymouth. I thought Kyle Joseph had a better game, and he's also gone out on loan. And Kyle Joseph was playing wing back, and he's a striker. And he had a fantastic game. He put in some graft, made some good tackles as a wing back, and that's a more difficult position to adapt to. But what was he, 19 coming in from Wigan? So that's a little bit more understandable. I think the Whittaker one, like we signed him from Derby as a youngster. Steve Cooper kept telling us all the time he was one for the future. We haven't really hardly seen him. Every time we've seen him, he looks quite lively, and now he's going to go out on loan to like Lincoln.
But the thing is, though, where does the future start?
Yeah, I know. I was just
squad is that age, isn't he?
Yeah, but are we really in a position where we can be like, right, we need to like grow our younger players? Where realistically we need players now, don't we?
Yeah. If they're good enough, if they're good enough, they're old enough, aren't they? And to be fair, he's come on. Like we've seen the championship a few times last year, didn't we? He come on and made a difference, didn't he? He would go at people and he'd have a pop, he'd have a shot, he'd try and link up the play, and I've been quite impressed with him. I think he's a good player.
He was the best player in the home derby against Cardiff that we lost.
Yeah, really surprised he didn't bring him on against Preston on Saturday, but he brought Lowe on, didn't he?
He did talk about that. He said something to do with someone getting injured was the reason Lowe had to come on. I don't know why. I didn't see the game.
Yeah, I know. I don't know.
Burrow have to go off or something.
I can't remember who he took it off, to be honest with you. I don't know. It doesn't make sense. So, but if he had to bring Lowe on,
but like, Cooper never saw Whittaker as a striker either, did he?
No, I don't think he did.
Yeah, bit of a weird one. Anyway, we've got more comments here. Like Nicky said, the owners look as if they're going for a low price just to get the deals done. Thing is, though, it doesn't make sense because like they're never going to sell unless we get back in the Premier League. So, how are they benefiting from this? Because they're just going to make it harder for themselves.
But no, this is
get relegated, then they have to let the club go for even less.
Yeah, but this is the main thing. This is the main worrying thing, because what's happened is we've had Cooper, we had Potter, and we had Cooper, and now we've got Russell Martin. We've been just relying on them to, overperform all the time, and that's masked a lot of the issues. Because if you look at it on paper, you think, we just, with Potter we finished mid-table, then we just finished, we went in the playoffs, and we went in the playoff final. You think, they're doing really well, but these managers are working with an average squad and they're making them overperform. Now, at what point does that stop? Is it Russell Martin? We're still backing him. We still got to wait and see what he's got. But at what point does a manager come in and they can't get anything out of this squad? And I think that is coming because, even if it's not this season and we just sort of, sit around the mid-table or a bit lower, then next year, the loan players go back again. Then Perot goes if he's had a good season. Then someone else goes, like Cabango goes, and then they bring in some more loan players and some frees and then all of a sudden you're the Huddersfields, you're the Prestons that have just been in the Championship for 5, 6, 7 years. You can't get out, you can't improve, and you end up in League One.
Yeah,
and that's the worrying thing.
In the chat, do you think Cardiff could do the double over this year?
Yeah, I could see it.
They can, yeah. They could have.
I think a draw would be a result for us.
The teams that's shown us the most physical side is, well, I know we haven't played a lot of teams this season, like for Preston side and things like that. They showed a bit of physicality, and Cardiff are the ultimate physical team. They're going to come and want to bully us.
They scored all their goals from headers, and we look like we're getting back to that team that can't defend set pieces again.
And keep him always king of a header, and he loves a header. So
Flint as well.
Oh God!
Flint, yeah. So
I believe their centre halves have just been scoring goals, haven't they, for fun from headers? How do you watch that football?
The thing is, only watchers play now. Sometimes you just think to yourself, the opposition must just go right, press them high up the pitch, right? They either A, going to lose the ball, or B, pump it long. Well, most of the time, lose the ball in the back third. So, and you're going to get a chance. Did it against Blackburn. You know what I mean? We lost how many times? And Lee said Stephen Bender. I don't get me wrong, good shot stopper, but with his feet, he's absolutely dreadful.
No, I'm coming over to your camp now because I was trying
He can't pass the ball 10 yards.
Bender.
Yeah,
I was
Half-back
trying
score,
to
10 yards, I'm sorry. Some keepers can either some keepers could do it, some keepers can't. Don't get me wrong, I think he's a good shot stopper. Comes over cross as well, commands his box, but he just cannot play with his feet.
No, I do agree with you now. I was trying to give him the benefit of the doubt. I was trying to back him, and Nicky was saying he can't play with his feet, and I thought I'll give him time. But then I watched the Bristol City game in that first half. I thought, he just needs options. I think, you've got to have options, and then I looked at some of them, and he's got like 3 options wide, and he plays ball through the middle where there's nobody there.
Well, lads,
There's no
I've got some
excuse for
news. Got some news. We think from Stuart James, if we're saying he's reputable, which I think we're all in agreement, he tends to get it right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Matt Grimes is staying. No prospect of a deal with Fulham.
That's good news.
Obafemi will join from Southampton. Nacham deal is done. Announcement tomorrow. And here's the kicker. Deal for Fosu is off. Understand they would only have happened if Grimes left.
I mean, why are they different positions, aren't they?
I thought Flynn Downs, which we haven't talked about the ones we signed earlier on yet, but Flynn Downs I thought was brought in to replace Grimes. And same with Led. I thought they had an inkling he was going to go, and that's why they brought him in.
Maybe. Yeah.
We said in the video the other day, didn't we? We didn't know Conor Roberts was going to get back in the team in the way that Led looked like he might turn up and perform. But then we said about maybe playing him on the left and Roberts on the right.
Yeah, well, look, I mean, keeping Grimes is massive, as we said. I think if they do manage to keep him, let's not hold our breath, because I wouldn't be surprised if we wake up tomorrow and they've bid 4 million and he's gone. But we'll see.
To be fair,
keeping him is massive.
I'd rather keep Grimes and get a Fosu in, wouldn't it?
Yeah,
I'd rather keep
I think Grimes is key. Martin's literally, you can see he's building a team around Grimes in the middle. So it would have kind of been a little bit of a restart again after the international break had Grimes gone, I think.
Yeah.
Here we go. Here's one. Surely at this point, this is Andrew. Surely at this point, we have to commit to a relegation battle and not sack Martin. We need to give time to a manager so he can build the team his way.
Yeah, he's got to have time, isn't he? Definitely got to have time, but
he needs a few windows at least to put his own team.
I don't want to get too negative, because I've been pretty negative tonight. But that Preston game on the weekend I watched, that was worse than the Stoke game. I think he's got to have time, but some of the performances we've seen so far, there was nothing to take. Well, not nothing. The goal that Perot scored was a lovely goal, but apart from that, they didn't get a tune out of them at all. I don't know what was going on. We were all over the place at the back. I'm surprised. We've got the boy in from Liverpool, and Reese Williams. I'm just surprised we haven't got.
But I don't think Bennett, Cabango in the same back three. They're not good enough on the ball.
You've got to be footballers. You've got to be total. Well, to be fair, when under Cooper, you could see Cabango's a good defender. You saw solid centre half, but he's not. He is a bit of a club foot, isn't he? He likes to pump long.
Well, we said last year
he does like the
first
pump long.
person to kick it up the field all the time.
Yeah, but there's nothing wrong with that when you haven't got an option on. You know what I mean? You've got to play the right areas.
It isn't, but that's what I mean. Is that he's struggling to adapt to what Martin's asking him to do, is what I'm saying. I'm not saying he's a bad player. He had a fantastic time last year, and he looks a really good prospect. You've just got to be in the right kind of system, haven't you? And he's got to adjust to this.
I'm surprised he hasn't.
He's not. When he used to get the ball, sometimes you could see that he wasn't particularly comfortable, coming out with it and passing it. Was he?
No,
I don't think. But like I said, we've got to just play in the right areas. But at the minute, I think they find it a bit hard to play in the right areas. They think you can play in any area at the minute.
Yeah, but the game on Saturday, the Preston game, really wound me up, because they were passing the ball around, trying to, and then as soon as they were losing it, we looked absolutely all over the shop at the back. They could have scored any time they had the ball. They were just taking it off us in midfield after we had 500 passes or whatever it is. That's great, fantastic. And they were taking it off us, and oh my God, the back three, they just looked scared. Cooper came off the bench and probably didn't have his best game so far. They just looked everywhere, and I'm surprised they haven't brought in another defender as well as the boy from.
We got a lot now. It's probably quite stacked in here. With Norton, he's covered right back now as well, but he wants to play him in the middle. We've got a lot of options. People are going to miss out there, and if Cooper's forced his way into the first team picture as well, it might be Cabango that ends up dropping out of some of these games. Who knows? But Oliver got a question. What player would you all have wanted in the team this season, realistically, without saying Kane or Messi? I saw one earlier that
Question,
I think was quite realistic for us. Morgan Gibbs-White's gone on loan, hasn't he?
Oh, I know. I was talking about this earlier. I was talking about this earlier. I was like, what a signing for Sheffield United that is. They've done some good business.
Yeah,
They've done some good business then.
Dan
I
Horan
know
Brewster ended up going anywhere.
Who?
No, I don't know.
Brewster, did he end up going anywhere?
Yes,
I don't know. Yeah, I read somewhere though that they were prepared to let him go out.
Yeah.
But maybe they're not. Maybe not.
I don't think it was to a championship rival, was it? I don't know if like they would. But
Yeah.
Morgan Gibbs White, definitely him going to Sheffield United.
Like, you know, he had so much promise when he first started with us last year, didn't he? He was a game changer, wasn't he?
That hurt.
That hurt. Yeah, that hurt me. It did hurt me.
I think he's gonna be class as well, and especially now, like, you know, if we had him in there in that pocket as a 10 sort of player, creative player, we could be dangerous. Imagine Gibbs White behind Peru.
But that's what I'm saying. Have we bought a player this season that's
I thought that's what
do that
was for, but obviously he's not coming now, and everyone is seems a little bit frustrated about that one on Twitter and in the chat. So
I know Uncham can play if plays further up the pitch, so I don't know whether maybe he's going to fill that role.
He tried Felton there, didn't he, in one of the games?
Yeah. Do you think though that he's bringing in Uncham? If Grimes is staying and he's bringing in Uncham, like, who's going to play? Because you've got Danda, who doesn't look like he's going. You've got Grimes, Downs, Fulton, Walsh, Smith, and Cham if he comes in as well.
Well, that's why Dan Williams is going on loan, isn't it?
Dan Williams is going on loan. Ollie Cooper went out on loan as well, didn't he? But
Ollie Cooper went on loan.
He had an assist on his debut tonight as well.
I think I'd probably take any player we can get at the moment, but we could probably do without a central midfielder, to be fair, unless it was like an attack-minded player.
Yeah. No, I agree. I think our midfield's quite stacked now. I think the bottom half of the pitch is quite stacked, and the top half of the pitch is quite. We might have some people, but it's quite raw for the people we have. We're not quite sure about them. We don't know, do you know what I mean? Like Whittaker, for example, we're still not sure on him. He's been here now since January. Carl Joseph, we brought him in and he's gone again. So we go, Perot, Cullen. People are still not sure on Cullen. I'm not here to criticise him or anything, but people are questioning Cullen. Patterson, who looks like he's going to start every game. But, what if he gets injured? Who's going to be there then? Danda? That's what I mean. The top half of the pitch is the problem, isn't it? It's shown in the stats because we can't create goal chances. It was the same last year. It was the problem last year, the fact we didn't have a striker. We were always, creating chances was a bit lower for us. We were good because of our defence. We were quite clinical, really, with the amount of chances that we created. That eased off towards the end of the season because we didn't have a striker and people found out how we played with Lowe and AU and the wing backs and stuff. And we haven't really addressed that issue. We kind of have a little bit with Perot as a striker side of it, but it seems like we've got less options now to get the ball there. We're getting the ball there in a worse way. Now we've got someone that can score. He's managing to find a way to do it, to be fair, but I think you've pointed out a lot of the games, Lee, that the striker's very isolated. That's why Lowe was struggling so much there. It's a bit of a weird gap from the striker. You got the wing backs all the way up here, and then the two midfielders or the wide sort of inside forward players behind the striker, but then not really near the striker. I don't really know how to describe it.
Well, it's strange that why is this Fosso deal fallen through then? Because surely that should have been a priority. If he's an attacking midfield player, and Lowe was going, that was a priority. So why is that fallen through? And why has it taken until the last seconds to realise, actually, we do need to bring in someone now?
Yeah. Well, we haven't got much sparkle up that top end of the pitch. We haven't got, like you said, Pirro, he's just a goal scorer, isn't he? You can't expect him to try and beat 2-3 players every time he scores a goal, can you? You know what I mean? That's what worries me. The player who did it last year for us was Andre Ayew. He had something special about him. He could make a chance. He could, he had something in him. He scored a goal, but he could create something, couldn't he? But we haven't got. Well, Patterson is the closest thing we have to it. But can we overly rely on him? You know what I mean? The lad's been injured a lot as well last year, the last few seasons. We over-rely on him. If he gets injured again, what are we going to do then with stuff?
Yeah, no, I'm not sure. I've got a comment here. I feel sorry for Grimes. If anyone deserved a big move away, it was him, and now he's stuck here. I mean, only for a year if he really wants to go, and then he will have a much bigger audience to pick from, you'd imagine. So I don't really know. I don't think he's having a bad end of the stick there. He's club captain. I don't think he's like desperate to leave. I just think like he's happy to not sign a new contract. If miraculously we got promoted, I'm sure he'd be putting a pen to the paper. Do you know what I mean?
I'm not gonna lie as well. Fulham's not exactly like superstar club. I know they I know they've got good players, but like if they're not exactly playing the Premier League, they're playing the same league as us anyway, aren't they?
And if he's got a good agent, like on a free transfer, a Premier League club's more likely to take a chance on him than
So
I think you are seeing more of this now though, where players are happy to run their contracts down and then get more wages, aren't they?
Yeah. I don't think
Fulham's paying the transfer fee.
Exactly. Fulham's not reaching for the stars.
I think no, they'll probably go up again this year, won't they? And then back down.
Yeah. Here's one, Lee. If anyone should have gone, Dander should have been the first.
Yeah. Well, look, I mean, like
You buy him a pint.
I've said my feelings about Dander, as you know. I don't think he's good enough to play at this level. And again,
how was Dander staying?
Like it's not just me then. But why not? Like you said, why is this Fosu deal off? They should have sent Dander out on loan, and then and used the wages to bring someone else in. Gibbs White.
Brentford are now reporting that I've clicked the wrong comment. Brentford are now reporting that Fosu is not 100% staying. Who knows what's going on?
Oh God, yeah. Do you remember the transfer window where? Who was it? Was it Fur was going to Aston Villa all night, and then the next morning Tom Carroll had gone to Villa, or was it the other way around?
Yeah. Well, no, it was that. Yeah.
No,
it wasn't even mentioned at all. Tom Carroll. It was like Fur's having a medical with Villa
on the bus.
Yeah.
Well, what's this going to be? A loan? If it goes through.
I mean, look, I just saw Vital Swans posting on Twitter. I'm very disappointed with the Fosu deal. I would have rathered him than Grimes. But if it's a loan signing, like. Really?
No,
really? You'd rather get a player in on loan? I know that Grimes only got a year left, but really? You'd rather get a player in on loan than lose your club captain?
Well, I guess essentially Grimes is a loan now, isn't he, for a year?
Yeah, but he's still, in terms of being integrated into the squad, being the captain,
I get
more. I get it. This Fosu could come in and be a massive flop. You don't know how he's going to, fit into the team. You might not get on with, like, you might not like living in Swansea. Like, a lot of things can happen.
Yeah. It's a lot of
Why? What's wrong with Swansea?
Well, I mean, Renato Sanchez did like it, did he?
Oh, he's gone to Wolves, isn't he?
Did he actually go in the end?
I thought he hadn't gone, have he?
I thought
that's not on, is it?
I don't think it was on. I'm sure it was touted earlier in the day that he was going to go, and then apparently I was reading on Sky Sports News earlier, and it said that he's very unlikely to sign for Wolves.
Oh,
Tell you what I just saw. Salomon Rondon has left Everton to go to China. I did not even know he was still around.
No, he's gone. He's gone to Everton from China, isn't he?
Yeah.
He's gone to Everton.
He's linked back up with Big Rafa.
Oh, yeah, sorry. They signed him on a free transfer. I did not know.
Big Salomon Rondon. He is not going to get game time.
I know. What a dodgy signing that was.
No, he was a good player for Newcastle, to be fair, when Rafa Benitez. He scored a lot of goals. But, he's not going to get a lot of game time there. He's going to come off the bench. He's going to come off the bench when they won in 1-0. You know what I mean? At home, Man United, and he goes, "Guys, waste this up for 30 seconds."
Speaking of Newcastle, Sean in the chat. Get in, Sean.
Just see. Let's get Renato Sanchez back. Cheap as chips. Yeah, okay. I think he had a good season last year, to be fair. Right, okay. Let's move on from everyone that's gone. Let's talk about the future, I guess. So potentially, then it seems like it's the case. Obafemi from Southampton and Sham. So I think we meant to get Obafemi in January. We were all quite excited for it back then. It's supposed to be a permanent transfer, which is nice because we don't get loads of them these days. But 2 strikers in a window, permanent, we needed that. He's got a bit of pace as well, so you could offer something different to Peru. You happy with that signing? And Sham as well. I don't really know too much about him myself. I know he played for Celtic, and I think someone said in the chat he was in France last year. So what do we think about those two if they come in?
Yeah, I think it's all right, to be fair. I think they probably saved it if Grimes stays, and then Obafemi comes in, because if you have, say, I don't know, Obafemi and Perot on the pitch, it might be quite dangerous. But
Yeah.
and I wouldn't be surprised if they get a tune. I wouldn't be like someone said in the chat earlier. I wouldn't be surprised to get a tune out of them and turn Hull over. Whoever's is it QPR or Hull next?
Hull.
One of the two. So I wouldn't be surprised they turn Hull over and everything will be great. But I just think, like I said, it's just the long-term future that's starting to worry me.
I think
People
Obafemi.
saying with Whittaker staying apparently.
Oh yeah.
Oh, that'll be all right. That'll be good.
Obafemi is a bit of an. Like, I know he's played a couple of times for Southampton. And he scored. I don't even know how many Premier League goals he scored from. To be fair, he's only played a few times, so he's still a bit of an unknown entity, really, isn't he? We don't know what you're going to get with him. You know, you're going to get a bit of pace. But do we not really know a lot about him? Like, he could be a great signing. But
Swans admin's on a bit of banter, just so you know. Someone just asked them, "Can I go to bed yet?" And they've come back with one of them gifts, not quite yet. So there's something coming. There's something coming. Swans Twitter. So Swans admin's having a bit of fun.
Oh, they said don't go to bed yet because they're going to announce Cham or Obafemi, the ones that we know about.
Apparently, bad attitude for this Sham.
Yeah, apparently he's a bit of a bad boy. Apparently, I've heard that. Yeah,
keep him happy for
bit of a maverick.
And then he'd probably be sold
he's
anyway.
He's a bit of a maverick, yeah. But like he did score a few goals for Celtic, I believe. So,
we'll see him. We'll see him down Wine Street at 4:00 on a Monday, probably after a win.
Yeah. He'd probably be in there Friday night before game.
Get him in beer keller. It's all good. If we got Fosu, then Whittaker would have gone. Yeah, probably. Maybe that makes sense. I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so after the ones we signed earlier this season, so we got Joel Perreault, we got Liam Walsh. I mean, I haven't seen him kick a ball yet. Flynn Downs, Ethan Led, Jamie Patterson. How do we feel about this selection? Actually, when you look at it on paper, it's okay. It's like you could look at the bigger picture, I guess, and would all of this happen under Steve Cooper? Would it look the same? Probably would look different. Maybe it's like Russell Martin's come in and he's like, want some of these guys. I don't want some of these guys. We thought Bidwell was going to maybe go as well, but we've kept him.
Yeah, I don't know. I just keep saying like sometimes on paper it doesn't look that bad. I'm not knocking any of the players we brought in. I thought they've been quite tidy, everyone that we've signed, to be fair. But I just think you compare like our sides then after each transfer window and you think, oh, actually we're a bit, we're not as good as we were. We haven't got a good squad like we had last time or the season before. It just seems to be slowly sort of dipping down, like signing Walsh, like that, a strange one to me because it was quite well known that he was injury prone and he hasn't played a kick the ball for us yet.
Yeah, I think that's the most frustrating one for me as well because I've heard some good things about him. Apparently, he is a really tidy, good player, but he was injured. He was injured a lot when he at Bristol City. You know what I mean?
Perhaps he's on quite a low wage and it was worth taking a risk for a free transfer.
Possibly, but I'd like to see him play. Well, hopefully, he gets fit and we can see him play. See what he's all about.
Hopefully. Yeah. I think Conor Roberts. I'm going to be quite controversial here, I think. And I don't know if people are going to come for me in the chat. I think I like Conor Roberts, right? I like him. I think he's a good player. He's got had a really good time at the club. But in terms of how good we rate him to how good a player he actually is, I think we rate him higher than maybe what he actually is just because he's from our academy. Controversial, I know.
No, we sort of touched on it last year. We said he's a good wing back. He's not a good right back, I think.
Yeah.
Because when we shifted into the back four last season, I don't know, what was it, March, April time, he couldn't get back on the side, could he? Because Norton was playing a right back. And
yeah,
I think he's good going forward as a wing back, but suspect going back, I think.
Yeah, I'm just trying to say here, obviously, with Led coming in, it could, I know it's a loan, it's only for a year, it could be an improvement. So I'm not here to bash Conor Roberts and I'm not criticising him. I would have loved to have kept him. I'm just saying, I think we've got a little bit of nostalgia because he's from the academy and he's from the area. the whole homegrown thing and local boy. He's really, he's a good player. He's a really good player.
Yeah,
I think sometimes when he plays for Wales is where you see it a little bit more. He does get exposed quite a bit at right back for Wales.
I just always think
world-class teams like Premier League opposition.
Yeah, I think he always gets caught positionally. I don't know if he's the most adept positionally. I think it was when he played Man City in the cup.
Yeah,
he got caught out straight away from kick-off. That's from kick-off. That you can't be getting caught out there.
He just burst out for no reason.
Yeah, but he is a good player. I do rate him. I think he'd do well. I think he'd do quite well at Burnley, to be fair. But I maybe you are right, Luke. A bit like defensively, he wasn't, the best. Going forward, he was a good player. But we got to play with what we got now.
I was only focusing on that because it's more led and focusing on, but comparison, it's going to be direct because it would have been Roberts' first choice and I was going to be led first choice. I'm not sure we're going to, after the end of the season, it's hard to say that though, because obviously we had a good season last year. You're always going to compare it if we were lower down the table. But in terms of what I've seen from Led so far, he likes to take a man on. He looks really comfortable on the ball. He looks just as dangerous going forward. And he looks like a solid defender. So I'm not sure this season we would miss Roberts. Someone just said his long throw on his own is worth 1 million. And I think his move to Burnley will make or break him. It is an interesting one because Burnley is it's not really the sort of it's quite far away from what you'd expect the Swans the way that Roberts grew up with.
They bought him for the long throw.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
They bought him for the long throw.
Well, yeah, really? Paid $1 million for the long throw. There we are. That's literally it. They had him on a free transfer, essentially.
I don't think they play... they don't play wing-backs, they? Burnley. I think it's just a nice, simple Swan Dice 4-4-2, isn't it?
Got some news.
Uh-oh.
Sorry to interrupt you, Lee. Swans have just confirmed Obafemi has signed.
Woo.
It doesn't say if it's a loan or transfer. Obviously, we're led to believe it's a.
This is brand new information.
So they've confirmed Obafemi has signed. So another striker on the books there. Anyway, carry on.
Yeah, I would take that.
Another one in the door.
That's another one in the door. I can't remember saying. No, I was just thinking it was a strange one for Burnley's point of view because I don't think they don't play wing backs there. I think it's a straight back four, isn't it?
Well, they're hoping that Roberts is going to be a good right back then, I guess.
Yeah, they play two centre halves, don't they? Yeah, and two full backs. Yeah,
I just think he's going to be one of these players that maybe the grass isn't always greener.
Do you reckon?
Yeah, you've got to give it. But the boy's got to give a chance, and he
deserves a chance. Definitely deserves a chance. Definitely deserves a chance in the Premier League.
I don't begrudge his move at all. I think he deserves to go, and you've got to back yourself. And he probably.
I do think Burnley was a bit of a funny team for him. To be fair,
I thought maybe like Brighton would have been a much better fit.
Yeah, probably would have. Bet they got that Tyreek Lamptey, haven't they? And he's a good
player. Conor Roberts, he's been niggly in a game, so maybe that.
Yeah, he's feisty. He's got good work. Actually, he just doesn't stop running. So maybe actually those traits is what.
That's what they've looked at. Being a bit niggly, killing the game. You know what he's like.
Yeah,
can you pass the ball? Can you cross it into the box? And can you throw it on someone's head? Right, you're in.
Yeah.
And don't stop running. Yeah.
Yeah, and he goes. To be fair, he goes down rather easy as well. He goes down easy on a touch. He's like when he's facing his own goal, you just touch him. He goes. He goes down in stages.
Obafemi Martin, it's just Newcastle had that, isn't it?
Yeah, they can't let it go, Sean.
Yeah,
he's upset now because Rondon's gone as well. He's back.
Sean, Newcastle suck, man. They suck.
They'll be down here soon with us. You can come on then as the opposition preview. If it doesn't work for Conor, we get him back. And I think he's the sort of player that, before he retires, will want to come back. Especially from his... I know people often say things in their goodbyes, but just because of how local he was, I think he would try to come back. It doesn't always work out.
I'm surprised, speaking of that though, I'm surprised with Joe Rodon, because he hasn't played at all for Spurs, is he? I'm surprised he hasn't gone anywhere. I'm surprised he hasn't gone anywhere though, because I know Mourinho was it. He played a couple of games, didn't he? But not that much. Yeah. Is he going to play that much for Spurs?
Well, I don't know.
I can see him leaving. I can see him leaving next year, probably. Well, next summer.
Dan James has done his 2 years.
I tell you what, that is a hell of a signing for Leeds, I think.
Yeah. get him
I
back
think
on
he's
track.
gonna. I think he's gonna tear it up at Leeds.
They were trying to. They announced him in a way that tried to like take the mick out of us and what happened with the whole failed transfer. But I think let's put it into like, let's be real here. We got another 1.5 million out of it, so like we're still laughing. We had 15 million when we sold him, and another 1.5 now. Whereas you've now paid whatever it is, 25 million, was it?
Yeah,
So I
25.
don't know whether they're trying to like have a little bit of a pop at us for. They nearly got him for like 2 million or something ridiculous, and now they're paying 25. So we're the ones laughing.
We'll always have that on deadline day that we did that.
Oh yeah. To be fair, it couldn't happen to a nicer bunch as well, could it? Couldn't have happened to a nicer bunch.
Yeah.
So, no, Leeds. Don't get me wrong, right? Leeds, big club, like
30 mil.
They are so deluded, so deluded.
Well,
no, I think I tell you what though, I think I'd be looking forward to seeing him go for Leeds. I think he's gonna do well.
I think I would Bielsa. Bielsa, good manager. He'll get the most out of it.
Surprised nobody else was in for him. At the beginning of the window, I heard that Leicester was left. God, try that again. Leicester were after him, Brighton. But I thought
it's only because Ronaldo signed.
Yeah, because he was starting. Dan James was starting, wasn't he?
And Leeds apparently thought that Solskjaer wanted to get rid of Martial before James. But
well, yeah, you would have thought so.
I guess it was like just get rid of someone because Ronaldo probably took a lot of money. So they probably needed to sell someone. Yeah, and Sham apparently is going to be announced tomorrow. So I'd imagine that's enough of the news for tonight. But we'll see. You never know. You never know.
Is that it, you think?
Let's just one more play we haven't really discussed much. Reese Williams from Liverpool. I know we did touch on him earlier. Do you think he slots straight into the back?
Yeah. Because obviously I played. Like I watched him a couple of times last year when he played. He looks like he can play. He looks comfortable on the ball. Something which at the minute we haven't got really with the centre half. Latin Baudier looks most comfortable, I think, on the ball.
Yeah, he comes from Man City's academy, haven't he? So you'd expect that.
So he's obviously he's injured at the minute, but we don't know the extent of that. But I think he's a big, tall guy. He's going to be quite physically imposing as well. But I think he's a good signing personally. I do think it's a good signing.
Yeah. I mean, I wasn't really expecting it. We've had good links with Liverpool in the past, so could be something that we need just to help us get the ball rolling. Maybe you will help support the other centre backs and help them develop their game. I'm
going to play devil's advocate here. I think that's not a signing that I'm getting really excited about just yet. I don't think. I don't know. The defence worries me. It does worry me.
Is it like the time when he was just quoting that Stephen Bender was class with his feet?
Nah, it worries me. It could
Did you say that? Did you say that on the channel?
No, I was trying to back him. Because you got to give him time. I'm going to
back Bender then. I'll back him now. I think I don't think necessarily that's his strongest point, but he's hell of a shot stopper.
He is
a good goalkeeper.
Like I said earlier on, I think he is a good shot stopper, and I think he commands his area well. I think he comes across as well. I think he's a good shot stopper. But if you're going to play in this system, you need a keeper who's going to be comfortable with their feet, because otherwise he's going to give a hell of a lot of goals away. Just pretty sloppy passes, and you can't afford that.
But see, he just I don't know. He just seems.
Woodman suits the system better.
So if somebody's running at him, he looks a bit suspect, but he's solid. I think he's on about Reese Williams there. I mean, he had games in the first team for Liverpool, didn't he? So the opposition is not going to be quite the same. But
I know, but I'm struggling to see a commanding sort of defender in there. You've got Bennett, who we did have it last year. He was there. He was just the old head in there. But you're relying now on, you've got Bennett and Norton, who can't play one game without having 3 games off. That just seems to happen all the time. They play one
Norton's
game.
As bad as Bennett with that, but
but at what point? This is another thing about our transfer business. Like last year, I did sing Bennett's praises, saying it was good to come in. He's solid. The way that we played, it worked. But then, he's 1 game on and 3 games off with them, the pair of them.
Yeah, but you wouldn't sign Bennett now for this system.
No, you wouldn't sign him now. In all fairness, but then this is what I'm saying. I still don't think that we've got the players to do it, because you've still got Cabango and Bennett in there. You're relying on a 19-year-old coming from Liverpool to sort of turn it around. I don't know, Brandon Cooper I thought was okay in the first couple of games, but then he didn't play very well when he came on.
Yeah,
against
but I
Preston.
think like with that, like you got to like when it's a back three as a unit like that. Sometimes if they all struggle together, do you get me?
Yeah,
It's hard to stand out on your own.
I'm trying to think of a player. I'm just trying to think of a name.
Someone's got a question here while you're on about the defence.
Go on.
Do you think Manning could move to centre mid with Williams coming in? For me, Manning
Maybe.
actually has played centre mid before. Steve Cooper spoke about him being a centre mid option, and he did bring him on once as a sub in the game for centre mid. But no, I don't think he will play centre mid because we have so many options in centre mid. If he then plays Manning in centre mid, you're asking why have we signed Walsh, Downs? We've kept Grimes, you've got Fulton, you've got Smith, you've got Dander. Like, I just can't see it. So, for me, I think if they sort the back three out and Manning's not part of that, I think Bidwell might be looking over his shoulder because I think Russell Martin's quite keen on Manning.
Yeah, I like Manning. I think he's
same.
A bit controversial. I think he's better than Bidwell.
Yeah, I think he's better going forward, definitely, and he seems better on the ball, more comfortable, so could be a better fit. He looks a bit more like Laird on the left than Bidwell does.
Bidwell does put a good cross in, to be fair to him, but I think he's just more in the interchange as well. Like he's got to get him back and things like that. He's a bit quicker at his knees. He's a bit more.
Yeah, he's got a bit of grit to him as well. Like he was linked to Middlesbrough, and you could tell why he was linked to that sort of team. Neil Warnock.
Yeah, years defence I was thinking of someone like Guehi did last year. Good with the ball at his feet, solid, and would just run out with it, and just take that on his shoulders, and then you can have a Bennett. You can have a Bennett behind you then to keep it calm if he runs out. But it's just having that go forward with the way that they're playing. I don't see Cooper, Bennett, Latibodier, maybe Reese Williams will do it. We don't know. Just someone with a bit of, I'm going to go on a bit of a run now. I'm going to go and find a good ball and go forward.
But what I will say is, do you remember Geehy's first few games for Swansea?
What, especially the one at Hull when he couldn't pass it 5 yards for 45 minutes.
So let's with the defence, especially like Cooper and now with Williams coming in, it might take them another 5 to 10 games before they actually start finding their feet.
Yeah, you've got to give them time. You have got to give them time, of course.
Yeah, we have. Yeah. I mean, we'll come back to this in October, I guess.
Here we go. We definitely need to keep a shot stopper or not. They ain't reliable. Could have got Wayne Hennessy. Need a consistent three in front of the goalkeeper to get some understanding at the back. I agree with that, actually.
Yeah.
I don't know if I would have wanted Wayne Hennessy, though.
I don't know.
You do need a consistent back three in front of the goalkeeper for understand. Yeah, you do. But you also need a goalkeeper who can pass it 10 yards.
Yeah, no,
I actually feel sorry for him because he's probably doing what the manager wants him to do.
Yeah,
if it's not his game, it's not his
I
game.
think he does. I think he does what Martin wants him to do quite well, but it's the stuff that he just randomly does. Like Saturday, he came charging out of his box and took someone out for the free kick, and then he should have saved the free kick. And that's not nothing to do with the style of football, is it? That's just him losing his head.
Yeah. So maybe he's how old is Bender now?
I'm not sure. He's not that old. He's quite young.
I think he's quite young. Yeah. So maybe that come in time as well. But
Woodman had his moments, didn't he? Then people were getting on his back quite a lot. So Obafemi is undisclosed fee, by the way, so permanent signing.
Permanent signing. No problem.
Anyway, before we look at wrapping up, we haven't really talked about Flynn Downs, but is there anything else you guys want to mention, want to talk about? Anyone in the chat got any questions that they want us to address before we leave? Bender tries to be too much like a Neuer. Well, he is German. Maybe he's his idol. Who knows?
Yeah, maybe. Yeah. And I keep going back to some of the passes at the beginning. I was saying,
Bender's dodgy passer. Totally.
Yeah, no, I was good. Like I said at the beginning, I was like, if they want to play out from the back, they've got to have options. And I thought at the start, the defenders weren't giving him the options, and he was looking a bit flustered because he was panicking. But then, as some of the games went on, he would have 3 options in front of him to pass it out quick, and he'd take 4 extra touches, and the striker's onto him, and he's just clearing it out.
The one that springs to mind for me is was that Bristol City when he tried to play the ball out. He tried to play the ball out to Grimes, and Grimes was on his own, no wrong there, and he sort of drags it 5, and he was only about 10 yards away, and he drags it 5 yards past him and just plays it straight with Bristol City player for a chance. So you can't when you're playing that, you can't do that. He's not looking for a Hail Mary pass. he's looking for a 10-yard ball across the floor.
Same with the David.
Well, maybe it's nerves. Maybe it's nerves and things. I don't know, but there we go.
I know. Yeah, we'll
I
see.
think but for people who are watching, I do think he's a good shot stopper. He is a good shot stopper, and he does command his area well. But he needs to work on the passing side of his game.
Yeah, that's fair. We'll agree with that one.
Okay, there's one year then. Do you think it will be a relegation scrap this season? And quite similar question. Where do you see the squad finishing?
Ooh, I say mid-table-ish me. I think we'll pick up points. We're going to pick up some. We'll beat teams, but I think we might get a few thumpings along the way.
Yeah, this is the worry though, because I think everybody keeps saying, and including us, we keep saying, no, you got to give him time. You got to give him time. You got to give him time. But if we're waiting until October or November, you know what the championship's like. You could be too far away to claw it back. Games become different then. If you're, if we're quite far adrift, and it carries on, and we have performances like the Stoke game, like the Preston game, and with the occasional good performance in the middle, and we say, oh, okay, we can see it. It becomes more nervous then. Bender becomes more nervous making a mistake at the back when you're absolutely desperate for points. So I don't know. I think we put them at the beginning of the season. I think we did our prediction to me and put them.
We say 12th,
like 12th, something like that.
Yeah.
I don't know. I maybe.
I still think that's on. I think that's still fair. I think
from what I've seen so far, I'm going to push them down a couple of places and maybe go like 14th.
Yeah, but like it is a complete drastic change of way of playing, and I just think like first half of the season, I think maybe we're a bottom half team. Second half of the season, maybe we start pushing on to be, in terms of form, I mean, now top half team. And when you combine that both, you're going to finish somewhere in the middle. I think that's what we're going to be looking at. So, like, what I would say is for the rest of the season, and I think this is a fair thing for everyone to have as their expectations, cut the season in half. And if the second half of the season is better than the first half of the season, which it should be, then we're going in the right direction. And, you start making the comparisons, like, what was it like then? This is what it's like now. Oh, yeah, there's progress. We're being more creative. We're keeping the ball better. We're not making their mistakes at the back. That's the sort of things we want to be looking at after Christmas, going past the January transfer window. If those problems are less common, we're making progress and we're going the right way. And he's going to need more than just this one window to mould the team to the way that he wants to mould it, especially with still a few more players in the last year of the contract. I know Grimes is the one, that's the main one. I'm sure there's one or two more. Bidwell, maybe he hasn't got long left. That's why he was being... This is third season and it is his last year. So there is other players that are going to be like rotated out, and we need a little bit more regeneration, maybe more than we would have needed if it was still Cooper, because it's a new way of playing. Depends again then how long Martin's going to stay for, because in recent years we haven't had managers that long. So that's another question, and that's another topic and debate.
That's for another night.
Yeah, we got a couple more years. So Nicky said Bender could be nervous. I think he's right, but imagine games like Cardiff. Yeah,
that's a really good shout, actually. That's what I was saying about, like you said, when we need points, if we are adrift and they're going to want to play out the back, and you've got young players at the back. That's
why big players come to the fore, isn't it? Like a goalkeeper's a big player in a team, so he needs to pull himself together when he comes to these sort of big games. You know what I mean? I know he's only a young lad, but this is what makes you or breaks you. I suppose things that we talked about Conor Roberts earlier, makes you or breaks you.
I think the international break couldn't have come at a better time. Time to reset and Martin to work on the team and the individual roles. Can see a different team in 2 weeks' time. Well, that's the idea. We said this in our last video, that get over the Preston game, and he's now going to have some time with the team, because he's only had like handful of training sessions between matches. It's been like midweek matches as well. And bear in mind, he came in like within a week of the first game. He's hardly had long to work with the team. Yeah. Okay, anyway, let's call it there, because otherwise I think we'll be going all night. I think we could probably keep talking about things all night. Like I wanted to say I was quite sad about Kyle Joseph leaving after his performance the other day, but it will do him good to get in first team experience, I guess. What was you going to say?
No, I was going to say as well, you had Selena's gone back to Ipswich as well, hasn't he?
Yeah, Selena. I mean, they got relegated, and they Dijon, and they had a really bad year.
Yeah.
Also saw that Mike van der Hoorn, the team that he signed for in Germany, got relegated, so now he's on loan somewhere in Holland.
Utrecht, is that Utrecht?
Is it there?
Yeah, sure, Utrecht.
This transfer window, it's been a bit weird, I think. PSG have pulled the absolute god transfer window of free signings. Some players have moved that you think in the same window. Wow, Messi has gone somewhere, Ronaldo's gone in the same window. That's just crazy. But then at the same time, when you can come down the pyramid, COVID has had such an effect on other teams that it looks completely different. It's such a contrast between the top and the bottom now. And I think this transfer window shows that quite well.
Oh, yeah, but bloody Man City spending 100 million on Grealish.
Did they end up going for Kane again? I saw they were going to bid 130.
Yeah, but they would have. If Tottenham wanted to enter negotiations, they would have signed him for 150 million as well. Or 160, whatever it was.
How does that pass financial fair play?
Well, this is it, isn't it? How do they do that? How do all these transfers get through?
Well, that's another debate again. One of the most crucial players this season will be Norton Nafiti. I think he could be quite important. Experienced at the back, and I think he's the most comfortable out of the older players on the ball.
I'm trying to think if there was any other good signings in the Championship. I think the signing in the window so far has got to be Gibbs White to.
Well, he hasn't played yet. That Tanith Chong for Birmingham.
Oh yeah, good player, very direct.
And Troy Deeney as well.
Troy Deeney, good signing on free.
Troy Deeney. Anyone in the chat? Any other highlights in the Championship of some players that have signed? I'm trying to think. Cardiff.
Trying to think. No, to be fair, there wasn't a lot. There wasn't loads of business today in the Championship, was there? I think a lot of teams settled early, apart from us, with our yard sale today. But I don't know.
Neil Taylor's a free agent at the moment.
Is he?
Get him back.
I think so.
Get him in. Play him 10.
He'd be back at Wrexham or something. That'd be a good sign for Wrexham.
Yeah.
Oh, it's not a bad shout.
That's
a great shout, that is, yeah. That's a great shout.
Griezmann's gone back to Atletico Madrid, hasn't he, as well?
Yeah, Griezmann's gone back.
Bit of a waste, huh?
Yeah. Ampadu has gone out on loan again as well, hasn't he, to somewhere in Italy?
Yeah.
Dan Juma's left Bournemouth. I know that.
Low must have been his replacement then.
I think so.
Yeah, it's like a direct sort of thing. Yeah.
They signed Christie as well, didn't they?
Ryan Christie.
Yeah.
Good player.
I think those four teams, even though Sheffield United have had a bad start, I think those four are going to run away with it. I think Sheffield United, Fulham, West Brom, and Bournemouth. Did I say Bournemouth?
Am I reading this right? Will Grigg,
where? To us.
Rotherham.
Oh.
Doncaster. Apparently, he was linked with Doncaster.
Was he?
Yeah, he was. Yeah, he's gone to Rotherham.
Was that the fee for Ronaldo? Man United, 19.7 million.
Yeah, crazy, yeah, it was. Yeah.
That was the fee. Bloody hell.
Yeah.
What do you think about the signing of Obafemi? I think we're quite excited to see what he can bring. Different option to Pro, bit of pace, and it's nice to have two strikers up front. I think now we can choose one or the other. Don't know whether they might play together. Maybe you play behind Peru. And do you think Lowe will start? Yeah, I think he will start a few games for Bournemouth. They asked me when I went on their channel earlier, what's he like when he gets dropped and put on the bench, and what's his mentality like? I was like, I can't answer that question because we never dropped him.
Yeah, he played a lot of games, so
we didn't have any options. I think, especially when we needed to drop him, when he went quiet and didn't have a good spell, we couldn't drop him because we had no one to play.
Yeah, we literally got about to drop him when Jordan Morris was coming in, and then he got injured. So Lowe just stayed in all the time.
2.5 for Ryan Christie, quite cheap.
Good signing.
Do we think that we missed out early on though? I was thinking about this before we finish. Like early on, some good signings went through. Like Wilmot went to Stoke quite cheap. Early doors. I think maybe we were behind the game because we didn't have a manager in. We missed out on some good ones.
Did Alex Mowat went to West Brom for a free transfer from Barnsley? Did his contract run out?
Yeah, his contract ran out as well.
He went with Ishmael.
Yeah, I think you are right. I think
that was a great signing for a free transfer.
That was a good signing.
I think if Cooper had stayed, we would have had some other these players that he brought in, especially if they were available, would have perhaps wanted to come back. like Gibbs White. We were linked with Gibbs White earlier this summer, coming back, and then
When
it
Cooper
went
was in.
quiet after
That one-
everything with Cooper started happening.
Yeah,
So-
that one for me is kicking an ads. He's gone to Sheffield United.
I just think a lot of these good
It's gonna
loan
keep me
players we've
awake
had
tonight, though.
that have gone
Yeah,
somewhere.
I go work in the morning. I'm gonna be like that tonight now.
They all went to these other clubs. I don't think they really consider coming back here after Cooper's gone, and I think that shows with the amount or the lack of use of our loan allocation. I'm not, like Nicky was saying, it's better to maybe not always rely on that. That's fair, but obviously under Cooper, he was using it to the maximum advantage that we could because of his contacts. I think it was obvious when you look back. It was obvious it was summing up because we didn't use any of that allocation until so late. Like we weren't even linked with all these youngsters that he would have worked with from these Premier League clubs. We were linked with them this summer, and it's just so obvious that there was a problem because that's the first thing that happens is he fills his loan allocation with all these players he's worked with before and all the rest of it, and that's literally his reputation, isn't it? So
yeah, well, it is what it is. We got well, under Cooper. I suppose he was always going to have that. That's what he was. Like you said, that's what he was known for, wasn't he, with youngsters? So they were very unlikely. Like we were going to have the money to bring them on in, but like permanently, like Morgan Gibbs White, we haven't got the money to bring in him, but we, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it is what it is. Martin, now I'm looking forward to see what he can do, though. I am. I know. It's like we've had a lot of ball, we have a lot of shots. We haven't scored a lot of goals, but hopefully there's all sorts of clicks together. The plays he's managed to bring in now.
Yeah. Let's see what he's got now.
Didn't Andre Gray go to QPR as well?
Yeah, I'm on. Yeah, I'm on. But his girlfriend's just had a baby, and she's from Little Mix, and she
Yeah. London's a big pull, isn't it?
Yeah.
Okay, last question then. Do you think there's any position that we should have strengthened?
At least got to go straight to centre half. Again, just another centre half.
Centre half. If we're building from the back, we need a centre half. I know we got Reese Williams in, but I wanted a big signing at the back. I did. Good.
Oh, yeah. Apparently, UEFA suspended financial fair play due to COVID, and they couldn't work out the money that was made.
Oh, is that why it's like
gone mad?
It's gone a bit mad in this transfer window, yeah.
Well, if that's true, then fair enough.
It would make sense.
Okay. Any final words then, lads?
Up the Swans.
Yeah, I stole the words. Hashtag up the Swans.
Well, everyone in the chat, if you were still here, thank you very much for coming. If I could just ask you all a favour, if you could just please hit that big thumbs up button to give us a like. We'd really appreciate it if you're still here at this point. It's been a good live session, actually. I think we'll try and use this format more going forward, potentially in the future. These will stay up then on YouTube afterwards, so you'll be able to watch them, and I will probably convert it into a podcast to put onto Spotify as well. Also, if you aren't subscribed, please hit that subscribe button. We're trying to get to 1,000. We said we're going to do a giveaway of 500, probably be a kit or something, so stay tuned for that. And if you want to get a notification every time we go live or put a video out, there should be a bell next to the subscribe button, so click that as well. So we really appreciate if you could all do that. It just helps us grow as a channel, and we want to keep growing, to keep improving our content, and the more we grow, the better stuff we can do, basically. So hopefully we enjoyed it. Well, I enjoyed it anyway. I hope you two enjoyed.
Yeah, I've had a stinking day.
I can't believe it's been like over an hour, to be honest. It didn't feel like it was over an hour, but
yeah, it was good.
Been a good talk. Sorry if you're tired in work tomorrow, but transfer deadline day, you would have been up anyway, let's be honest.
Yeah, man. I got to get up at half 5.
It could be worse. We could go to bed now and have like a little video of come on, Wilfred Boney.
Oh, I tell you what, potentially, I think we could bring him back. He'd do a job, wouldn't he? He'd do a job.
Hey, you could start behind Pirro or the ball.
He could start behind Pirro. Just put him in the 6-yard box and let him stand there for 90 minutes, I think.
Just sign everyone. Just get them all back.
Yeah. Okay, well, cheers for coming on, lads, and we shall see you in the next video. So have a good one.
See you soon.
See you.